This is Valor. Part 1. The Unwanted Girl. Based on Jane Eyre. Hello everyone, welcome back to Valor Creative. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications for more powerful stories and emotional historical journeys. Tonight's story is about a lonely little girl, a girl nobody truly loved. A girl who suffered in silence, but one day she would become stronger than anyone ever imagined. This is the story of Jane Eyre. The beginning, it was a cold and rainy evening in England. Inside a large old house called Gateshead Hall lived a young orphan girl named Jane Eyre. Jane had no parents. Her mother and father had died when she was very young, and now she lived with her aunt, Mrs. Reed, and her cousins. But Gateshead Hall was not a happy home for Jane. Mrs. Reed never truly loved her. To her cousins, Jane was strange, weak, and unwanted. Every day, Jane felt alone. While the other children laughed near the warm fireplace, Jane usually sat quietly in a corner with a book in her hands. Books became her only escape. Through stories, she could forget the cruelty around her. But reality always returned. John Reed. The worst person in the house was John Reed, Jane's older cousin. He was spoiled, cruel, and arrogant. One afternoon, John found Jane hiding quietly in the library. He became angry immediately. "You have no right to touch our books," he shouted. Before Jane could answer, John threw a heavy book directly at her. The book struck Jane painfully. Terrified and angry, Jane finally defended herself. For the first time, she fought back. But instead of helping her, the servants blamed Jane. Mrs. Reed called her a violent child. Jane cried desperately, trying to explain herself. But nobody listened. Nobody ever listened. The Red Room. As ponies meant, Mrs. Reed locked Jane inside the terrifying Red Room. This room was cold, silent, and filled with darkness. Years earlier, Jane's uncle had died there. The room felt haunted. Jane sat trembling, alone in the darkness. The red curtains moved softly in the wind. The shadows on the walls looked like ghosts. Jane's breathing became faster and faster. Fear consumed her completely. She believed something terrible was inside the room with her. Finally, she screamed in terror. Servants rushed inside and found Jane nearly unconscious. But even then, Mrs. Reed showed no kindness. Instead, she became even colder toward her. A child with no love. Days passed slowly. Jane began to understand something painful. Nobody in that house truly cared about her. She was not wanted. She was not loved. But deep inside her heart, something powerful was growing. A quiet strength. Jane was different from the others. Even as a child, she had courage. Even after cruelty, she still dreamed of a better life. At night, while rain touched the windows of Gateshead Hall, Jane imagined freedom. She imagined a world where someone might finally understand her. The decision. One evening, Mrs. Reed made a life-changing decision. She decided to send Jane away to a strict boarding school called Lowood School. To Mrs. Reed, this was a punishment. But for Jane, it would become the beginning of a completely new life. A life filled with hardship, fear, friendship, and transformation. Jane did not know it yet, but her journey was only beginning. .ou. And so ends the first chapter of Jane Eyre's story. A lonely orphan girl, trapped in a cold house, dreaming of freedom. But Lowood School was waiting for her, and what she would experience there would change her forever. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Valor Creative for the next chapter. Part 2 will reveal the harsh school that transformed Jane into a stronger person. Thank you for watching, and good night. This is Valor.